The world uses 350 billion gallons of water per day, which is less than 1/3 of what we have. But Texas is one of the driest states in the U.S., so that makes having enough water essential. Water rights is the right to make use of the water from a stream, lake, or irrigation canal. There are 3 different types of water rights: riparian rights, prescriptive rights, and pre-1914 rights.
Prior appropriation means, it basically means first in time, first in right, and that's all incorporated into water rights by the long history of that Spanish component in Texas history.
Riparian rights are the most important and common type of water rights. They give you the rights to use some of the water that runs through or is adjacent to your property, as long as you do not block the flow of water.
Then riparian means that, if you live by the river, you should have the right, to use water. So that gives you the exemption. If you're living next to the river, you can take water, use it for livestock and gardening.
When each of us bought our land, we bought, all our water rights. I mean, we bought to the center of the earth, basically. Isn't that right? What the lawyers told me.
You own what's under your land.
You own what's under your land.
There are 3 different types of water usage. Intake uses are for domestic, industrial, and electrical generation. On-site uses are for water consumed by swamps, wetlands, and other bodies of water. Finally, in-stream uses are water used for navigation, recreation, and swimming.
Some of our customers use water directly from the lake, so they can pull water directly from the lake, or we can release water from the dam, and it moves downstream through the tributaries or the river, and then our customers can have pumps to pump the water out of the river, and then they can use it for irrigation.
See this 12-inch pipe right here? There's a piece of plate right there, and there's 3 of those. And when we open that valve, that plate opens up, and that water starts like a wall of water. It's about this high, and it'll wash almost 200 foot from here to the end of the corral, and then it goes down to the lagoon. But that's what keeps it so clean. That doesn't look like what y'all probably imagined it. You see how we spray? We try to keep it real clean. This is our lagoon water, okay? Now, it's probably getting close to turning that pump on, but that little pump right there, there's a line that goes to this circle. When we get out there, you'll be able to see how it makes the grass greener, from this lagoon water.
To get water rights, you have to plan out and construct a project that uses water beneficially. Then inspectors from the river authorities come and inspect your project.
For years and years and years, the state of Texas, they wanted you to build farms on tributaries or rivers or creeks, and they wanted the affluent, as we call it today, to run into the creek and run away. All of these farms milk 40 or 50 cows, okay? Well, they kept on encouraging that up till 1980, when some of these farms were milking 1,000, 2,000 cows, and it was still going into the creek. Well, then all of a sudden, when they figured out that they had a problem downstream, it wasn't the state's fault, it was the boys that built these dairies. But it was encouraged. I built my first dairy in 1984, and I submitted the plans to our state inspector, and he said, well, what are you going to do with the effluent? And I said, well, I can run it down here to this creek. It was right next to y'all's farm there. And he said, man, I like that. Looks good. Yeah. It went right down to the Brazos River. I mean, we concreted it, and it went down, and they came out A-okay, good.
And think about all that stuff going into the river.
The river, and they encouraged it, but then when they found out that they had a problem by doing that, well then by 87, 88, I had to dig a pond to catch the water to keep it from going to the river, okay? Once you have a permit for a well, you do not renew it, okay? Basically, the charge of $1,100 is to pay the administrative fee, is to pay the guy. Now, the environmental people, they do come, they drive through, they say, oh,
They just
man,
come with random inspections?
random inspections, and he usually comes, we have a health inspector that comes every 2 months. And I would say that water guy has probably been here 3 times in the last 15 years. But when he did come, you know, he wanted to go over the protocol that we use on the affluent. And he said, oh boy, man, I'm gonna bring another guy over here to look at this. You know, he liked it. You know, I told him I had my certificate, which he didn't ask for, but I've got it, on the lagoon. And I showed him how we do it. And he said, boy, this is just ideal. And because it's all flat, okay? So, you know, the chances of anything off of this farm getting in the Brazos River are
Both users and the authorities have many important rights and responsibilities they have to keep in order for the system to work. Here are a few examples.
For us to be able to use water, and for anybody that wants to use water, you have to get a permit from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. And all the water you see that's in the rivers, or you know, that's surface water, we call surface water you can see in the rivers or creeks or lakes, that's actually owned by the state of Texas. But entities like that, like the Brazos River Authority or City of Waco, they have to go to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and do paperwork and administrative stuff to get authorization, to get the right to divert that water and use that water for, you know, for the things we talked about.
But I do not know an irresponsible farmer in the county. We're all being very responsible with our water. You know, we have moisture testers. When we're trying to grow a corn crop, we know how much water we need, so we go down in the ground and we test our soil 10 inches deep to see if we have enough moisture there to grow a corn crop or whatever we're trying to grow. Okay. Now, when I say flushing, we have an upright tank that holds 6,000 gallons of water, and we get through milking 400 cows. We flush the barn. We open a valve, and all that water makes a wall of water, and it goes from one end to the other. Now, I did want you to know we reuse that flush water, and I'll show you how we do it. It's where the cows, you know, their manure from the cows is washed down and goes into a pit. Well, we pump that into one of our circles, and so it's the circle of life, as we call it. That manure water fertilizes our ground, and we grow feed under it.
We have the right to do that, but you also have to take some type of responsibility to make sure you follow the rules and don't mess up the contaminate. Because think about that. I mean, you'll go over there and see it. It actually doesn't look like what it is, but
Right.
it's a manure pond is what it is.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't want to get that water down
In our water system.
Yeah, we don't want to drink that. Nobody
Right.
else does either.
So,
So it will. You can use it to fertilize. You know, have you ever heard of people fertilizing their garden with cow manure?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can do that, but you have to just do it. You know, you have to just be careful and be responsible.
We talked a little bit about the rights as far as water rights, what a water right is, and if you have a water right, what that gives you the ability to do. But as far as responsibilities, I think right now it's the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality's responsibility to implement the water rights. You know, I think there's probably a responsibility on the part of a user, you know, that's actually using water, and the Brazos River Authority has water rights that gives us the ability to deliver water to our customers. So it's our responsibility to make sure that our customers, you know, use the water wisely, you know, going forward in the future.
Because Texas is very dry, it is very important to make sure we use it responsibly and beneficially. Water rights are in the very center of that, so it is significant that we all understand and follow water rights. Water is essential for our lives, so it is our responsibility to preserve it for the future.